Hi everyone and welcome along. Today is the 23rd of December. We're so close. Let's see what's behind the door. Ah, a lovely wrap present. Well, grab your paints and let's get started. Right, so time to draw and paint a present, because I imagine there are a few under the tree, maybe where you live. And if you haven't sort of given them a bit of a squeeze already, then, well, that's very restrained of you if you haven't sort of had a little closer look. So we've got a cube but on an angle. So what we do is do 3 vertical lines, and then we do a squashed diamond, and then just the bottom of a squashed diamond, and then I'm going to put in a bow, so a sort of soft square, and then up with the curve and down, up with the curve and sort of down in, and then we'll have ribbon just off the edge there, and then we'll have the actual wrapped ribbon on the box itself. And there we go, that's our drawing. So I'll just rub that out lightly. So I'm going to draw in the bow first. I'm going to do a Alizarin Crimson bow, quite pale to start off with, and I want a tiny bit of unpainted shine in places. So I do a sort of outline like that, a little bit like the bow we put on the candy cane. We're doing this in a slightly more delicate colour. And then always just sort of cleaning the brush off, removing colour from it, because we don't need much at all. And then that bow actually on the box. And the reason I'm doing it nice and light is so that we can add some detail even to the ribbon. Yeah, this is a very fancy box. Even the ribbon's got some pattern on it. So we're going to let that dry, but in the meantime I'm just going to mix up some cobalt turquoise. As I've said a few times during this advent calendar, I'm a fan of pink and turquoise this year for Christmas, which sounds a bit garish, but I think it works really nicely. I'm going to mix in a little bit of Sap Green, and I'm going to paint a pattern on my wrapping paper. I'm going to do some very simple Christmas trees, so just in the shapes of triangles. So I've got my little brush, and I'm just going to paint at random some Christmas tree triangles. And of course, if we're going across the bend, there we go. Having that little bit of turquoise in with the sap green makes it a little bit like hooker's green, actually. I've now just thought of that. if you don't have Hooker's Green and want to create something a bit similar to it. If you're doing a white background, it's always good to try and have as many shapes sort of connect with the outside of the box so that it makes quite a complete shape. You almost end up painting more incomplete triangles than ones that have any shape, or have a complete shape. So that's really nice. And whilst those Christmas trees dry, I'm going to go back in and look at the ribbon. So I've got some more concentrated colour on my bow, on my ribbon, and I am going to do a sort of nice stripe on the ribbon, just in from the sides a little bit. And now I'm going to get a tiny bit of Paynes Grey, and I'm actually going to mix some Alizarin Crimson into it, which creates for me a nice sort of shadowy tone that still works with the ribbon, so I can just use that. And then in the little gap there as well. It's always worth having a think of, would my shadow mix benefit from having a little bit of the colour of what I'm painting shadow on? Not always the case, but it can be quite helpful. And now I'm just mixing some regular shadow, and I'm going to put a very little bit on my box just to help define the white box itself. It's just got to be really careful not to smudge the Christmas trees. Okay, that's quite enough. There we go. So that is a rather beautifully wrapped present that is only days away from being opened. Unless you're one of those naughty people who's allowed a present to open on the 24th. I'd like to say I wait until Christmas Day. Anyway, so one last day to paint. I really hope that you are enjoying this festive period, and if it's all a bit much, then I'm really hoping that this calendar has been a lovely escape from all the madness. Anyway, do share your paintings on social media, tag me in them, let me know how you're getting on, and I will see you tomorrow for our last day on the calendar.